the way back, get all that elastic energy, and when he goes into rotation, it's like letting that rubber band go. You get that big impact. You get arm speed. You get velocity. With you, it's like you only pulled the rubber band halfway back just because you're over-rotated. If we just shifted your body back, we turned it a little bit, got your shoulders sideways, and kept your head over your belly button, you'd have the same stretch as Bard, and there's your 2 miles an hour, but it's more than that. You'd probably get 5 to 6 miles an hour, and you'd be well over 90. So also, we'll look at this from the back angle, but you're throwing slightly across your body, meaning you're throwing slightly across the midline. And that's because your lead leg is swinging out and around too soon. But we'll go over that from the back angle. And also, your posture is too far forward. Here's your belly button. You're leaning really way forward, where Bard is right over his belly button. Okay? So his body's going to be behind the ball as he goes to rotate. He's going to get a lot more out of his trunk. Your trunk's going too soon, and that's just a result of your back leg breaking down, and you're striding out too far, and everything's happening just a tad too soon. But once you fix that, the beginning of your delivery, I believe that you'll automatically get to a much better landing position, and everything's just going to take off from there. Next position is back foot action. We want to see what happens with the back foot. So because you went to the toe too soon, notice how your back foot kind of rolls over. When the back foot rolls over, your back leg kind of dies, and it slows everything down. It kind of holds your hips and your trunk back when you're going into ball release. Okay? So that's something that will take care of itself once you keep that foot down longer as you move out towards landing and keep a more stable back leg. So now we'll go to ball release. This is actually the 7th position is position of full external rotation of the shoulder, and that's where we're at right now. What that means is the arm lays back parallel with the ground. So you're lacking some external rotation here, and that's because your trunk is too far forward. Your trunk started going forward too soon. So we want to make sure you keep your head over your back leg, and that when you get to the landing position, your head is over your belly button, and then you're going to get much more external rotation, and that's velocity. That's a big difference in your angles there. So again, this is going to take care of itself once you fix the beginning of your delivery. So the next position is ball release. So there's ball release. You have a slight bend in your arm. You're not fully extended, and that's just because your timing's off. So we'll go over this from the back, but your trunk's going forward too soon, and you're leaning over towards the first baseline, so you're not allowing your arm to get as extended as it could. And again, that's going to take care of itself once you fix the beginning of your delivery. And the final position is finish. And you have a good finish. Just make sure that landing leg stays stable as you finish the pitch. You can see there's a little bit of movement there forward. Make sure when you land that front foot, it's like landing in cement, and you want that landing leg to be braced so that you can explosively rotate your hips, flex your trunk forward, and decelerate your arm more efficiently. But overall, good finish. Okay, Luis, so here's the back angle. Again, we have you linked up next to Bard, the same as the side. And we'll just go over a couple different things from here. So you'll be able to see a little bit different angle here and some of the positions you're in. Now, I want to mention it's totally up to you, but where you start on the rubber, for a right-handed pitcher, it's much more effective to start from the far right side. It's just physics. The right-handed hitter is going to have less time to see the baseball, whereas if you're pitching from this side, he's going to see your arm right about here, and it's just he sees it longer. So it's up to you. A lot of sinker ball pitchers will pitch from the opposite side just because they have a lot of movement. But to really maximize your delivery and your fastball and your deceptiveness, you want to start from the right side of the rubber. It's just going to make the hitter a lot less comfortable up there. So again, here's the one position you can see where Bard's hands are up high and yours are low. I'd like to see you lift them up to the chest, and then as you start to move forward, bring them down. You can see yours they kind of move out. So watch as you break your hands, they're moving out instead of down. I want you to break them down as you're moving out. Okay, so you can also see that your back leg angle. And when we get out a little bit further, how you move off your back leg, your first initial movement you want, once you break your hands, actually it's before you break your hands, once you hit the highest point in your leg lift, the first initial movement is critical, and you want to have that front hip go directly at home plate, directly at the catcher. That's going to set the tone for where your body goes in your delivery. What's happening is you're not directing your momentum with your front hip. You're straightening the lead leg, and then you're moving out and around towards home plate. Okay? We want that front hip. We want that front hip to go directly at the catcher and keep your foot under your knee just a tad longer. Okay? So once you break your hands and we get going, and so this is your back leg angle here. So your back leg's really breaking down. So you can see the difference in angles here with you and Bard. Okay, so you want to keep your knee over your foot, a little bit further over your foot. That way, and keep your weight over the whole foot. That's going to allow you to move down the mound faster, and it's going to give you better direction to home plate because you're going to see you land across your body a little bit. But that back leg angle is huge, and that's going to set the tone for the rest of your delivery. So there, we can see that Bard's back foot is down. He's a little bit on the toe, but you can see you're really on your tippy toe here. You want to keep your back foot down longer as you go into landing. It's going to make a huge difference for your back leg stability. So if I draw a line from the middle of your posting foot straight towards the catcher, you're landing way across your body. So you're landing way over here, okay? And that's just because you're going out and around towards landing. And again, directing the first initial movement, you want your hip, your front hip, to go sideways directly at home plate. And where your hip goes, your foot will follow. So instead of swinging that lead leg out and around, drive that front hip right at the target. Hip, then foot. And once you get that initial movement, you'll be right on time. So here's landing position. And again, you can see that your posture starts to lean backwards, where Bard's is straight up. Okay? So your trunk is too far forward and you're leaning towards the first baseline. We want to fix that. And part of the leg swinging out and around causes you to have to lean back towards first base in order to get to a good position at ball release. So keep that posture upright, keep it over your belly button, even going into landing. It's going to make a big difference for you. So now we'll go into full external rotation of the shoulder. Again, you can see Bard's arm is laying all the way back. And to me, your arm angle's a little high. But if we just tilted your shoulders right to here, your arm angle would be the same, and you'd get a lot more flexion, you'd get a lot more range of motion with your shoulder. You're just a little bit too high there, and that's just because you're leaning. Ball release, there again you can see that your arm's not fully extended there, and that's just because you're leaning too far that way. If you stay more up and down, your arm will be fully extended right here. You're going to get much, much more power that way. Then we go into finish, and it's a good finish. So Luis, I hope all that made sense. Again, to me, the way you start your delivery is really going to make a huge difference in your velocity. So all the stuff at the end is really going to change once you change the beginning of your delivery. So making sure you keep your back foot down and that back leg more stable as you move out. Lead with the hip, then the foot. Keep the foot under the lead knee longer, just a slight second longer initially, and then make sure you're keeping your head over your belly button as you go into landing so that your arm is back and your trunk isn't going forward too soon. Make those changes, and I guarantee you'll be hitting 90, if not higher than that, in a relatively quick period of time. So I hope all that made sense. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to have you come out and work with us because we have a really simple system that we use to implement these changes, and we see changes happen really fast, and the pitchers just love it. So love to hear your feedback, and good luck with these adjustments, Luis.